trying to record. Okay, yeah. So Sawyer said that the Attorney General office is establishing a compliance department. And so what is happening is because for many years, we felt that the Bahamas was deficient in 22 of the 40 recommendations, but not only us. So was Switzerland, so was all over Europe, so was Cayman or what have you. But we were getting a lot of heat and a lot of flack because we are a very small country. And so therefore, we felt that we were the competition and they wanted to wipe us out. Even though we was doing some things wrong, we felt that they gave us more pressure. And so what we saw is that the same people who were on the IMF board, was on the FATF board, on the European Union board, the prime ministers and the permanent secretaries of these various countries. So we felt that when they got into their meetings, of course, somebody was there to fight for Switzerland, the prime minister, somebody was there to fight for the UK, but we had no representation. So just recently, Carl Bethel, he became the chairman of the CFATF, which is the Caribbean region of the FATF. So definitely, he has to sign before they blacklist the Bahamas. Because they promised us that they will give us ample time before they blacklist us because it causes reputational risk and sometimes credit risk. Our ratings go up as a high-risk jurisdiction when we're not really high risk. And so he won't sign off on blacklisting the Bahamas, without doing whatever he could do to prevent it. Because one time it was just that they had a delay and their technical team did not confirm that we had sent in some documentation and they blacklisted us. And so this is why, good evening, this is why he now has a seat at the table. So I think from having that seat at the table on the CFATF, he has now established a compliance unit in the Attorney General's office. And it's newly established. And I think Sawyer talked a bit about it, but she's not here tonight, but she is at the Attorney General office. Okay, so that should be developing. But yes, we need some help. This country is in dire need of new ideas. No more. I've been in politics for 40 years and now my son will take over. And another strategy, what they doing is like brothers or they want to be on two sides. So V. Alfred Gray, Cassius Stewart was the brother-in-law. So V. Alfred Gray was a big PLP. Cassius Stewart is the son-in-law, sorry. He joined the FNM, but of course he didn't last very long. Then we got to look at Dwayne Sands. Dwayne Sands and Monique Sands, husband and brothers. So Sandy Sands, of course, Monique Sands is Finland's daughter, and so Dwayne Sands is his brother, so they have the two, so they want control ultimately. So no matter who wins the government, they still have a little bit of control. So there's all sorts of strategies out there. But every good politician needs 3 strong people behind them. That politician really only for the limelight, to stand up on TV and talk and go to the House of Assembly and growl. You need the brain, like Pinky and the Brain, you need the brain behind the scenes, working on initiatives, seeing what really happened in the community, seeing this affects, can we get enough like-minded people together to make a difference? Okay, so your network, right? And make sure you take as much ethics class and victimization classes and all these, they're the ones that you go for, because when you reach there, you're going to be intimidated. So prepare yourself for it from now. And when they approach you, you don't even, you're ready. You're strong. Yeah, you don't fold. You don't take that $100,000 on the table and have a nice big house and all the 13 stores in the one hotel in the Bahamas and nobody else get an opportunity. Okay? Okay, very, very, very good read, Genovia. So read chapter 7. Yeah, so I given you all the sandwich approach. You all know about the sandwich approach, right? So that was a good little talk that we just had. And now let me give you all the doom and gloom report. And then we can go back to the sandwich approach. Yes, Omega. Yes.
I have something to say. I read Toastmasters.
Okay, so we can need you to say that after the doom and gloom. So
okay, then.
I can make everybody feel better.
Okay then. Okay.
Right, thank you. Right. So
Me too, Miss.
I am concerned. This is our last class.
What?
This is our last class. Next week is review.
Oh.
Right? So we are at the end of our 5 weeks. And so by now we should have made the decision whether we are going to go further if compliance is fast and if we want to know more. And then intermediate starts on July 31st. So if you are interested, then you go sign up with Miss Dean, right? Because it's a large class already. So I am concerned about this homework. Now, I don't know if Miss Bullet was having a bad day, but I say, let me mark all the homework and get it to the cross marker right away. The homework from last week, I got back from the cross marker, and this week. And I couldn't even send this week's on. So what happened? I almost everybody who did their homework this week, I sent it back. I was having a bad day.
You may not. You just might see me if you didn't, right?
I asked almost everybody to redo. Who sent me homework this week? No? Hello? Every silence, y'all got to talk back to me. I have 7 people here.
If anybody answered, that it's them.
Yeah, I didn't put in homework for this week.
Okay, and everybody else get a grade. Okay, so if you got a grade, I ain't talking to y'all. And if you didn't get it, if you have a redo, you don't have to say, it's me who have to redo. But at least 4 redos I sent back. Okay, and this is the last class. And so this is why I said, do not wait until the end to find out where you are. And then we having a problem. Because first, some of you, that was your first homework. Some of you I've gotten no homework from. Okay? Some of you have not participated in any class. So some of you don't have 10%. So tell me what happened and how do we fix this in 1 week? I just going on the list. Headburn, how do we fix this in 1 week? Everybody can give me an answer. I have to talk to everybody today. Headburn? She going.
The homework.
You going, eh?
Submit. No, I ain't going there right here.
Okay.
Do the homework and submit.
Sorry?
I said do the homework thoroughly and submit.
Yeah, because if any homework I get for this week, I will not be sending back a redo. You'll get a grade. And some of those grades were going to be 10%, 30%, 50%. Okay, so why are we at the end of this class and we don't know if we need extra help? Cash, Jamal, what's your comments?
I thought the last class was next week, no?
Yeah, but that's review. That's only review. Okay. Naren, Nantonio?
Oh, okay, interesting.
You want to say something else? Jamal? No, Jamal, you want to say nothing else. Okay. Nantonia, Naren.
Oh, that's it. That's all.
Okay. Nantonia, Naren. Hi, good evening. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Okay.
So I think you just have to work on homework and submit this week. I don't know. Okay, for me personally, I think it has to do with kind of intimidation. So I'll put everything together. But I know you said you wanted your essays to be 1,200 words or more, right? Without the fluff and all of that. So I'm trying to give the detail and I'm trying to give, get straight to the point. But I am finding it a bit challenging to get the 1,200 words.
Okay, so when you go ask for help. And how does Miss Bullet not intimidate? I don't know. I put it in instruction, so I don't say it because I know sometimes when I speak, I'm a bit harsh.
No, I'm not saying you're intimidating personally.
Okay.
I'm just saying the fact that the 1,200 words is intimidating for me. Just that part, not you personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then we need to ask for help. We don't need to just wait for weeks to pass on by and then time expire because I haven't received any homework from some of you and you only have 1 homework left. So you already only have, the most you could get is 10%. And then no participation, so you don't get that 10%. And you don't get the 5% if you haven't been in no civic organization either. So why are we not taking advantage of the benefits in the class?
I mean, for me personally, I have already made my arrangements to attend Toastmasters. So I'll be attending Toastmasters this week coming before the last class. Yeah, due to unforeseen circumstances, I wasn't able to be the last class, but I think I just participate. What do you think?
I didn't know if you were still in this class.
But I only missed one class.
Okay, that's what happened. You missed. I was wondering because they sent me a list and now they have me doing I have to write down who in the class because I said no, I don't think Naren is in the class, honestly.
Wow.
So catch up, please. Okay. So
Okay.
your grade isn't affected.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Zaria, I got your email, but you want to speak or?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. On Tuesday, I went to Toastmasters. I went to the Healing Communicators Club, 7178. They didn't really have their usual meeting. I think this was their last meeting and then they're gonna break and do another meeting. Their word of the day was fastidious, and they said that Toastmasters are very fastidious individuals. I never heard that word before, so that was something new for me. And fastidious means very attentive to and concerned about the accuracy and detail. So that's how they would describe themselves as Toastmasters. So, like I said, there weren't any speeches. They had like a toast and roast kind of thing, because this would have been the last meeting for the president of the club. Yeah, I think it was the last meeting for the president, not the Toastmasters last meeting. So after the meeting, she would become the independent past president. I think I remember that's what they said. And they was like, so persons were scheduled to toast to her by giving their remarks about her personality and on her job as the president of the club, which they said she did an excellent job. The club had the most persons signed up for pathways and joined the club out of the Toastmasters out of their area. They also received some type of award. I think it was the President's Distinguished Award. And then they started roasting her. I guess part of the toast and roast. Roasting, like cracking jokes on her, telling her how she performed and mispronounced many persons' names, which she is known for, I guess. And after all the announcements and other business from, I guess, their organization, whatever they had to deal with, there was just like a short gathering afterwards, and they played music, food, and everybody just mingled, and that was it.
Okay, so did you introduce yourself?
I did. Well, at least I went with a friend, so I let her introduce me to a few persons who she knew in Toastmasters to make it a little easier for myself because I'm kind of a shy person, but so I kind of let her introduce me to some persons. I met a few persons in banking. I didn't meet anyone that was in compliance. I don't know if they have in the group, but I met several persons that worked in banks. But yeah, that was it.
Okay, so you found it beneficial?
I did. I could see it being beneficial for networking purposes. I definitely could see that.
Okay, so you will return?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will definitely go.
Okay, very good. So how do you intend to get your next 5% for participation?
Hold on, what else have to do for the next 5%?
Go read the instruction page and we can talk to you next week because I know you sent me an email already. I don't want to overwhelm you. So next week, make sure you get it before the review class ends, okay?
All right, thank you.
And any homework or anything else, make sure that's submitted.
Okay.
Okay, great.
I'm going to attend my Rotary meeting next Wednesday because I missed the last one.
Okay, okay, and make sure all your other deliverables are in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Burrows?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I attended the Rotary O4 Bay Zoom meeting last night. It wasn't I guess, just as I don't remember who was just on, but she was saying it wasn't the regular meeting. It was the last meeting for the year. And they also inducted the new president. Her name was Nikki Lockhart. And they also had a speaker, which was Deborah Howell, if I even saying that correctly. They both spoke and they gave their regards, and they also did an introduction for both of them. So I basically got to know them in a small way. And then they also, after they did that, and she did her little pinning ceremony, over Zoom. And they did everyone's birthdays and talked about certain awards. And it wasn't that long of a meeting, to be honest. When the next meeting would be, and that she has another pinning ceremony on Saturday, but that was about it. It was actually very short. So I guess I should have went to the meeting before this one, but there were actually a lot of people on and I didn't get to introduce myself. So, but I would like to be a part of it. So I do follow them on Instagram to get updates. That's about it.
Okay. Okay. So good that you find it beneficial and that you and Lara Moore that y'all are gonna return. Okay. So very good. Okay. Omega, make us feel better. Omega, go on. Okay. Omega will be back to make us feel better. Okay. But like I said, if you need help, and again, this homework was added to the program just to see where you are at, because what we found that a lot of persons came into the final exam and got 10% and 20% because they just did not know, how to answer the questions, and they didn't recognize the questions. Okay, and so that's the purpose of the practice in the homework, because version of those questions will be on the final exam. And so at least you will go into the final exam with 2 pieces of homework, knowing, I did my homework on terrorism. I'm definitely going to answer the terrorism question on the exam because I already have the meat. Yeah. I did it on statutory requirements. I'm definitely going to answer customer due diligence, So like I said, the key to it is organization. Okay. Okay, good. So we know where we are. Please don't take advantage. Don't miss the last opportunity to get your points. Because like I said, people calling me back and saying, Miss Bullet, I didn't get participation. I said, Miss Bullet, call your name 5 times. You never respond. Listen to the recording, and they want their 5 and 10% so they could pass and not retake the entire course over. Mm-hmm. So the entire course to retake is just an exam, is $150. So you don't want to have to pay that $150 if you don't pass the first time.
I didn't know you could do that.
What,
how long
retake
is
it?
The exam?
So
sorry.
The exam is 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
If you don't pass the first one, you want to take a second examination. It's $150.
Yeah, but that second one is going to be much harder than the first one. So please, try to do your best. And then if you fail the second exam, then you have to retake the course. Okay. Okay, so we have Karen. Karen is telling us about to get her 5%. Go ahead, Karen.
I visited the Kiwanis Club meeting.
Okay.
Kiwanis Club of Nassau AM. It was on Monday.
Okay.
The first thing they start off by doing is listing some of the objectives, and they do a toast. They went to PACE on Tuesday, and they presented bedroom slippers and robes to the expectant mothers. And last Saturday, they fed 160 persons on the park, and next Saturday, they're going to a Paradise Home in Palmdale to provide breakfast and lunch, and also a small independence celebration. I introduced myself. It wasn't too much of a mingle
Okay.
as much, but they invited me to the thing on Saturday, and also I asked to join.
Okay, excellent.
My mommy was in Kiwanis, so after seeing all of those stuff, they said someone would reach out to me to join. So I could see where it's beneficial to give back to the
Community, right. And so if you haven't done your charity for the year at Kiwanis is charity based, and they normally go out. I don't know if you heard Karen, but she was saying they went to the park and they gave they fed 160 persons at a park, and then they gave expectant mothers bedroom slippers and robes, right? And so that's the theme of Kiwanis is community-based and giving back. So just like I said, it depends on if you want to go to Toastmasters, which is public speaking, Kiwanis, or visit all of them, you know. And normally I say, you know, I have to do some charity for the year and some good deed. And so I normally pick a club too, where I just go and visit and participate, and, you know, just to check off my charity for the year. It just depends on if you have that as a goal that you set for your personal life each year. So very good. And Karen is going to join. Very good, Karen. Excellent.
Karen, did you know someone
No, I went on Facebook. I went on Facebook at the different clubs, and I just clicked the Kiwanis, and I messaged them, and they responded quickly, and they told me that if I wanted to join, that's the link.
Right. And so Karen, y'all heard that she did some research, and she sent them an email. She reached out to them, and they Facebook message, and they responded to her, and that's how she got invited to the club. So she didn't know anybody. So that's very brave of you. And I also asked, you know, the class is very small, but try to, you know, network within the class. I asked to start the WhatsApp group, WhatsApp each other, and, you know, be each other's support. And so it is intimidating to go by yourself for the first time. That's like very brave of Karen, but, you know, Sheena, if you need to speak to somebody, anybody else,
somebody was trying to suppose talk with someone from Kiwanis for me to invite me over.
Okay.
But I don't know what happened. I spoke with him, but he said he was supposed to talk to the person, and then, but I ain't nothing back from him, so I probably gotta go on my own and do it.
Okay, so I know Genovia, and who else? Is it Nantonia that said they're going to do it this week? I don't know if you mind inviting Karen. Sorry, not Karen. Sheena.
Yes,
I'm gonna do Toastmasters this week on Tuesday.
When?
Rotary, I think it's Wednesday.
One on Tuesday
and one on Wednesday. Which one are you gonna do, Headburn?
Rotary.
Headburn is gonna do Rotary, and Naren is gonna do Toastmasters.
Okay, can I get your numbers so I can link up and see if I can?
Y'all mind putting your number in the chat so Karen can call y'all and I keep saying Karen. Sheena can call y'all and make an arrangement. Is that okay?
Okay, no problem.
Huh? No, they're gonna put it in the chat right here, and I'm gonna give you their numbers.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, ladies. See, networking already, and essentially this is what you want. I asked for you to start with the people that you hang out every weekend with. You know, one weekend, say, come on, we are going to invest. Even if we just read the newspaper together to see what opportunities are out there, or we learn something new. One weekend out of the 4 weeks, you invest, you come up with ideas, you brainstorm, and you build a strong network. 5 guys did it in high school, and when they graduated, all the money they got from their graduation, they pooled it, they went to the bank, they got a mortgage, and they have I think a duplex on Airbnb, and they are business partners. And that's what they did for their graduation present, because I think each family was gonna like spend $500 on the high-tech cell phone or vacation or what have you, and they told all their parents we want cash. They pooled it, and now they are homeowners, Airbnb, right in Miami. And so there was a whole thing on TV about that. That's very smart, and for young men as well. That's excellent.
All of them are focused.
And they were graduating from high school, not even college, high school.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the type of persons you want in your group. And if they're not in your group, then 3 weeks you hang out with them and you'll party, paint the town red. And that one weekend you get together with Karen, Genovia, Jamal, and you'll brainstorm and come up with something. Okay, and that's how you make it. No man is an island. Okay, and the jobs are no longer there. Unemployment is what, 60%? So try and make a job. Okay, make something happen. Let that entrepreneurial spirit come out in you. And one person might be just good at business. Karen might be good at accounts. Sheena used to compliance officer. You know, and this year side hustle. You know, so start to think about, do you really want to depend on a government in a few years if they say it ain't gonna be sustainable, right? When VAT get to 15%, you could afford it. We can't afford this now. So what can happen in a few years?
Groceries is the whole bill.
I don't talk about it right away, but I just had a business idea and I asked somebody to assist me in terms of getting the license and stuff like that. So I want to, and I need to have something else different on the side than what I do now.
Right.
But yeah, I plan to, because I tell them, I said, God's will, I hope you guys will be coming into some money, and I said, I need to do something with that.
Right. So get together with some like-minded persons that want to invest. And you don't have to know how to do the business license. Perhaps the next person knows.
Yeah, and that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
She's gonna assist me with business license.
There you go.
How to go through the whole process, because she's into that kind of business.
There you go.
So.
Headburn, you were saying something?
No, I just was adding on to what you were saying about bad. I was saying because groceries is the whole bill.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And
that's
you
what they
say.
I don't know how much they say groceries going up by.
12%, they say maybe by December.
No, 40%, eh? Is it 12?
No, man, it's not. It's like 10% or something like that.
Oh, 10 or 12. Okay, okay.
On top of what we already paying?
Yeah, no, it's like 10% or 8%.
Gotta walk through the store and play eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I mean, it's a lot still, but it ain't 40.
Your world, yeah, you better get,
Better start farming.
Yeah, that's why I say you better get these farms up together.
You better start your backyard farm. We need to go back to subsistence. Listen, my mommy's starting a farm right now in the back of
that was my project.
A bunch of avocado and all kind of things.
Right, and listen to me, get it done. Let me tell you, my significant other, he lived in Eleuthera his entire life, and at one point he had moved here, and he said, you know, he went to the food store with me, and he could not believe it. He was like, $600, like, which just for the rest of the year. And so I was like, no, this 1 month grocery. I have a lot of kids. I said, this is 1 month grocery. And he came over to the house and he saw the way my children eat. And my children, they are in track and they need carbohydrates. And he couldn't believe it. He could not believe it. He said, please come live with me in Eleuthera. And so 1 year, I think it was in 2019, I lived in Eleuthera. I never went to the food store one day, because their prices are double what our prices are.
Yeah.
But he's a fisherman. Every day he went in a boat. He bought fish, conch, lobster, what have you. And then he was like, come, we going in the field. And I was like, in the field? And we got potatoes, we got carrots, we got broccoli. 1 year, I did not go to the food store and I could not believe it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's like Lenny Kravitz. I think he has property over there and he farms and everything.
A very large farm he has. And listen, by 3 o'clock every day, my dinner was already cooked. Can you believe that?
Amazing.
10 o'clock, I have to say, I can't eat after 8. In Nassau, I have to spend probably $1,000 a month on grocery. I have 5 kids.
All of them are athletes?
No, 3 athletes and the other 2 just eat a lot. Okay. Yeah, but no, for 1 year, no food store, just living off the boat and the land, and I could not believe it.
Oh wow!
I could not believe it. Yeah.
Responsibility need to go back there.
I have to, for real. I can't afford the food store anymore. I don't even go. I send the kids now because I say the money is jump out my purse and buy stuff that I don't need. I'll have a list. I'll be marking it off, and when I reach to the cash register, I have to say, I even only take us, I say $200, no more. And I be pulling out my card to swipe for another 130. So I don't even go to the food store no more. That's how bad it is.
No, ma'am, but you need to get together with and buy wholesale.
I just go to Bahamas Food Service, trust me. Trust me, yeah.
By wholesale.
Yeah, wholesale.
Yeah.
But can't say
And
every day.
they still is each other.
Yeah. I have a big freezer. I can't say every day. Yeah, but like I say, when I was in Eleuthera, I didn't have to do that once. I didn't have to do that once. So think about it. It really makes a difference. And then you eat healthier.
Yeah.
You eat 100%, because everything was meat and vegetables or seafood and vegetables. No bunch of rice and potato salad and all these things. Yeah. So yeah, think about it. I going back soon. Soon. I just only could be online because I could be over there. No, I could be online. You was online. You know how to get online. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Okay, so let's get back into this in court orders. So y'all please let me know if you're having problems. Network with somebody in the class. Get all your work in. I don't know if your institutions allow you any study leave, but normally most institutions allow you 2 days off. Please, on the front of the book, it tells you when the final exam is. Please schedule your 2 days. Final exam is July 15th. So maybe the week before or the week of. And that Thursday, try to, not be overwhelmed. Just relax, unwind, feel good, have a nice meal, and come 1 hour early so you don't have to fight the traffic. And just, only bring your keys, no bags, no all these extra stuff that we have, no phones. Okay, and the exam is recorded. It is. It's from 6 to 9. Okay, but before we go on to court orders, which everybody will get an opportunity to read, so everybody will cap off their points, even though some of you have points already. Let's look at the review sheet. Everybody got the review sheet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's look at the review sheet. Let me pull that up. I gotta come back to that. Send. Let's see. Okay, so y'all wanna call out to me which topics, or y'all just want me to assign? Each person is going to give us 10 points for the review class.
I'll take number 2.
Okay, so Jamal is talking. Can we see the screen? Okay, but look into your emails for the review sheet then, if you can't see. Okay, so Jamal is going to talk about the fines for tipping off and failing to disclose. Okay, so Jamal, that's probably going to be a multiple choice question. So we want you to also pick a essay question.
I didn't know that, Daddy. No, you didn't. You just told me lock it.
Burroughs, can you mute your mic, please?
Okay, buddy.
You don't have to put 3 locks on it a day.
Burroughs. Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
You said with number 2, I got to pick something else too?
Yeah, because that's going to be the multiple choice question. So we want you to pick a essay question as well, please.
Oh.
Yeah.
Trying to get back out and see what's available. Let's see.
Okay, so we have money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation crimes. Y'all want me to assign, or y'all are gonna pick?
Can I pick number 6?
Who is that? Genovia is number 6. Okay.
Can I get number 8?
Okay, Naren is number 8. Okay, Karen is number 10. Okay. So we have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 left. Okay, so the money is number 1 is money laundering crimes. Number 3 is domestic terrorism. Number 5 is the FATF, Bahamas deficiencies and recommendations. It requires research. Number 7 is the risk framework, and number 9 are red flags indicators for organized crimes. Red flags indicators for organized crimes. Okay, so Sheena is number 9. Okay, so Zaria, you could do number 1. Burrows will do number 3. Jamal, you want to pick 5 or 7? Jamal? Somebody is missing Sawyer. Okay. Well, I don't, can, Hepburn, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then, okay, so Jamal must not be there. Okay, so.
I'm here, go ahead.
You want 5 or 7?
5 or 7, let me see what 5 or 7 is. 5 or 7. I guess, give me 7.
Okay, risk. And so if anybody speaks to, or if she listens, Sawyer is number 5. Okay, so essentially what we want you to do is come with 5 points. I can't give you the questions, but you can look at the homework questions and I guess think of possible questions. The book in the appendices also has possible questions that could be asked. So you could start with looking at the appendices and give 10 relevant points to the topic. Okay, like Jamal has a multiple choice question. So of course that question would possibly be, what is the fine for failing to disclose, or what is the charge, or how many years would you spend in jail for for not failing to disclose or tipping off, something to that effect. Okay, so he will come with both of those fines and the number of years you will spend. He'll come with the penalties, right? And then if he talks about risk, he will give us 10 points about risk. Of course, you know, it's going to be recommendation 1 talks about risk, so he'll give us a point about recommendation 1. What does it say? Then the risk framework is threefold. Risk appetite, he'll tell us something about. Risk assessment, he'll tell us something about. And then risk rating, right? And then perhaps a lot of my questions are Bahamas based. So perhaps it'll ask you about the Bahamas with their risk rating. And when we talked about risk, we looked at the annual risk rating and we know where we are. We know where we get the methodology from. We looked at the Basel index and what have you. But we'll talk all about that in the review class, so you would know if you need research, how much research you need. But most of the questions require research. Okay, any questions about next week's class? Okay, so everybody's gonna come prepared to share. And let me just go over it so everybody knows. Zaria is number 1, Jamal is number 2, Burrows is number 3. I don't have anybody for number 4, so Miss Bullitt will be number 4. Sawyer is number 5, Hepburn is number 6, Jamal again is number 7, Naren is number 8, Sheena is number 9, and Karen is number 10. Oh, so Sanders will be number 4 if she comes. If not, I will do it for Sanders, but hopefully she'll be here next week. And then I don't know, Omega, I don't know if they're going to be here. Okay, so y'all let me come prepared next week. Okay, good. So court orders. Did we have the opportunity to read the chapter? Now, these are the last 2 chapters. By now, we should be showing up to class and having this discussion. Right, Hepburn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So let me, can you see my screen? Hepburn, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so everybody's gonna have an opportunity to read, and hopefully that will cap off all your points this week and next week. Okay, so chapter 7 talks about court orders. And of course, we know in the framework, the anti-money laundering framework, there's the Proceeds of Crime Act. And I think when we went over chapter 3, we talked about the Proceeds of Crime Act when we looked at the failing to disclose and we looked at tipping off, and we saw how it's written and we saw the penalties. So that's where POCA, we refer to it as POCA, where you would find all the various charges and court orders and what have you. So primarily on the exam, it'll probably ask you to compare and contrast like 2 of the court orders, or it would ask you to talk about from research court orders. That I think that's the homework question, from research document an unexplained wealth order case. Now, primarily online, the media does not tell you what type of order the person gets, but they have been saying unexplained wealth. So it's easy to find unexplained wealth. Sometimes it's easy to find freezing order, but primarily whilst I've been in the financial service sector, we get a production order to produce. And that is what comes to the bank. We get a disclosure order to give a testimony or a production order to produce. So they are, to produce evidence. So that's the type of orders that you would find coming into your financial institution. Okay, and they normally come from the FIU. Okay, and it says under the Proceeds of Crime Act, the legislation sets out several court orders. Under the POCA framework, they set out the following orders. These are the types of orders, and all of the orders fall under. So conviction-based confiscation, non-conviction-based civil forfeiture, unexplained wealth orders, and then investigative orders. Okay, and so under those 4 categories are restraint orders, freezing orders, unexplained wealth, investigative orders, monitoring orders, disclosure orders, and production orders. And so this, what I have up on my screen, what each person is going to read, just tells you, what the various orders means and what you could be charged with. And so what we will do is, like I said, in the newspaper, we first heard about unexplained wealth when Michelle Reckley from Urban Renewal in Freeport I think she got 54 counts where let's say she would have opened an account at the CIBC and the Teachers Credit Union. And of course, she probably said, this is for my salary. And to the sum of $1.3 million ended up in those accounts. So if you work for the government, and remember, we talk about cooperation, when you bring in your salary letter, most of the time we don't even read it. We say, Miss Bullitt said she could deposit $5,000. She bring in a salary letter. We put that on file. But we have to read it and see how much money does Miss Bullitt make? Or where is this money coming from? Okay, so of course, this was in 216, 217, and we was in check-in because the law didn't even change till 218, right? We were still on that staggered approach. And of course, if the law ain't changed, nobody is trained yet, right? And so picture back to 260 and 217, she opened up this account and subsequently deposited this $1.3 million into her account.
Did she deposit it all at once?
No. So you could go online and you could read the case. You will see where she deposited $30,000 once, then $10,000, then $5,000. I think there were about 25, 26 transactions that added up to $1.3 million. Okay. I don't even think the banks realized it. I think when they got the subpoena from the FIU, then they said, oh my God, let's look at this account. Okay. And so she was not arrested, I think, until 2017. And of course, when these cases go on for a lifetime, right? So by the time her case came up, unexplained wealth order was on the books in 2018. However, they had to drop that case because at the time of the crime, that was not a law on the books. And so therefore, she started off with 54 charges. She's probably down to 10 or 15 now because many of them had just come out in 2018. So that's where you see the technicalities in the law. Because they were not already on the law books, you can't charge somebody. But if they were, and anybody who has been charged after 2018, let's look at, I don't even know if Shane Gibson or Frank Smith or Kendrick Dorset. Now, 3 of them out of the 4 MPs have already been cleared of all the charges. But whoever committed their crime after 2018 could have been charged with unexplained wealth. Right now, we have the story of Elma Chase and her son.
Yes.
Okay, so she has an unexplained wealth charge. And most recently, she's been in the papers because just before the pandemic was when she was arrested and charged. She had bought a BMW, so they put a freeze order on that BMW, and I think a confiscation one. And so apparently the order has an expiry date, and they didn't expect for the pandemic to happen. And so late in November, I think, of last year, that confiscation order had expired. She is asking for it and pointing out that it has expired. And of course, you know, she is a lawyer. But how can you be asking for that car when it's purported that you bought it with unexplained wealth, right? So in my other class, when I said that, somebody said, but I know Elma, and why shouldn't she get her BMW back? Tell me why, Naren. Tell me why Elma shouldn't get a BMW back.
Did she get anybody get it? Some of what she got. I was say.
Naren, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to unmute it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me why Miss Chase Campbell shouldn't get her, or Alma Chase Campbell, why she shouldn't get her BMW back.
I feel as though she shouldn't get it back because she wasn't able to really disclose the source of funds. And the case, she hasn't been tried as yet. I mean, yeah, the time has passed based on the law, but I think it's evident we have a lot of leads to show that she stole the money.
Okay, correct. So it was bought with the proceeds of crime. She defrauded tourism, right? And so prior to this, her son was on bail for defrauding BPL.
Yeah.
Now he is charged with defrauding tourism along with her. And so until she can prove that I bought this with salary, legitimate funds, again, that was just a technicality in the law where that confiscation order expired, and she is now fighting for her BMW to be returned, okay? So she has to drive to court in style, right? We can't just have her catching a bus to court, right? Okay, so just so you understand how it works. And so what we are going to do now, and whilst you are unmuted, I am going to scroll down. And some of this is why you need a lawyer. They talk about instrumentalities and all these various things that we don't know, and ex parte and stuff like that. You can like Google all of them. Okay, so page 19, restraint order. Naren, read that for us so we'll know what a restraint order is, and we'll know how to compare and contrast that to unexplained wealth, production, or disclosure.
Okay. The court can make an order even where the person has not been convicted of an offense, that A, he committed an offense and is under an investigation or has been charged. B, he has an interest in the property and the property can be subject to an application. C, that the property cannot be disposed of, that it can be seized or a receiver can manage it. A receiver has very wide powers in dealing with the subject property, including to sell it, but the court can make orders to guide the receiver. Within 2 days after a restraint order is made, the enforcement authority should give notice to affected persons.
Okay, and what expanded in the 2018 laws is, I don't know if y'all were even born back in my day, perhaps you know, right? There used to be these notorious drug dealers, Sean Isaacs and Nighty Knowles. We know those names? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what they used to do in the past, they used to put in their mommy name and their daughter's name and their girlfriend's names and somebody else's name other than theirs. So if they got charged and went to jail, all the assets would still belong to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So the law has now expanded that if you are Sean Isaac's mother or Nighty Knowles' wife, that if you cannot explain how you could afford this house or this BMW or this piece of property, you as well will be charged, okay? And the items will be confiscated. So no more in your mommy and your daddy and your sister and your brother name. The law has been, expanded to seize all property. So even if, let's just say, Chase had committed this alleged crime by himself, if Miss Chase could not prove how she acquired this BMW cash, and I think they for what, $60,000-$70,000. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So how, if you can't explain how you walk up in the auto mall with this amount of cash and you buy this BMW, even though your son committed the crime, then that'll always also be confiscated and you will be charged. Okay. So no more your mommy and your daddy name and all that foolishness. Okay. Okay. So thank you for that, Naren. We'll go down to, let's see what just happened. Okay, Burroughs. We are going to read pages 24. Oh, that just makes it larger. Okay. If I make it larger, can you see it better?
I can see it.
Okay.
Make it larger.
Okay. Gonna make it larger. Okay, so Burroughs.
Hi.
That talks about seizure, and then we're gonna go to freezing. So I want you to read seizure and then freezing.
Okay. Seizure orders. On application by an authorized officer, the court may make an order for the enforcement authority to search and seize property, including to enter, is that a word? Oh, by force.
Enter by force.
And seize any items which may serve as evidence or which may likely have been subject to a restraint order.
Okay, and so in the past, I don't know if you all remember Robin Hood, that big empty building that's on Prince Charles right now. So it was alleged that they had defrauded customs and they had these trailers and trailers of stuff and they did not pay the correct custom duty. Like they, of course you have a little hookup down there and you make some fraudulent documents and you didn't pay the correct customs duty. And so in order for them to prove that, they seized their computer system because of course, the computer system will document, I have 10 cases of milk and 10 cases of water and what have you. So they had seized the computer system to match up to the inventory and that was in the trailer. Okay, so just to give you some examples, and again, that's on Tribune242.com, because a lot of persons, what I realized in the homework, they didn't give any real life case examples. So you can find all these case examples on, you put in Robin Hood seizure from customs and it should pop up. You put in Elmer and Chase Campbell and it should pop up. You put in Sheehan Gibson and that should pop up. Okay? So you have real life examples. And again, that's how you prove that, hey, I'm not only giving you a definition that I remembered from the book, but I can put this in my own words and here's an example. Okay? So 52. Okay. That's not my freezing order. Ain't coming up. Okay. Rapid list. Okay. Yeah, it's another one I was looking for. Okay. We'll go to this one for seizing. I have the wrong number next to it. Okay, there it is. Okay, go ahead, Burroughs, with the freezing order.
Okay, property freezing orders. The enforcement authority can apply to the court for a property freezing order to preserve the property that is suspected to be the proceeds of crime. The application is made by affidavit in a private hearing and without giving the other party notice. If the court makes a property freezing order, any person with an interest in that property must be given notice of the order within 7 days.
Okay, and so this is any type of property, not just property like a piece of property or a building. This could be a car, this could be jewelry, what have you. But there is a case where Peter Nygaard, I guess he was on the run. There's been a long-standing case with him and his next door neighbor where he would have dredged in the back of his yard to make it bigger and more into the ocean. And so the court had told him to cease and desist the dredging, but he didn't. And he had several court dates. He had lost his appeals and he did not show up to court. And so what they did is they went out and they had a court order and they put a lock on his gate. And so he could not access the property. And then I guess eventually he turned himself in. But then he is now in, they said he has a criminal history dating back to 1970. Yeah, he is now in Canada in jail. I think there's a big court case in New York. So millions of examples from Peter Nygaard you should be able to find. Okay? Okay, great. Okay, we're gonna go down to Hepburn and talk about unexplained wealth, which we talked about already. Most of the cases have unexplained wealth because again, once you would have gotten the proceeds of crime, what did you do with the money? The persons who defrauded on all the ATMs, and just before the pandemic, you know, I live in the East, and if I wanted money on a Saturday from CIBC, only this ATM right here on Shirley Street was ever up. And I'm certain, because I complained to CIBC 5 times. I said, why do you have all these locations and none of them are never up? And the woman finally said, we have about 30 complaints. Go ahead, Hepburn.
No, I'm saying they sound just like Scotia. Scotia have the same issue.
Okay, but let me tell you what happened. So there's a technical guy who runs the system part of the ATMs, who was outsourced to CIBC. And then there was the supervisor of ATMs who was stealing the money and not filling up the ATMs, but they thief too much. Because if you steal it, you steal half of the ATM money and let the ATM run so there are no complaints. No ATM was, I talk about no week, and I used to get paid on a Friday every 2 weeks, and I live near the ATM and never. So I said, please shut this down. This is never has money. I have to drive downtown every time I want money on the weekend. This is inconvenient because I'm not going to pay Royal $5, you know, and all those extra charges. And come to find out, the supervisor and the technical guy was robbing all the ATMs, signing out the money, and they bought a TV, they bought a car, they buy a flat, a 50-inch TV. And then they list all the foolishness, they went on a vacation.
At least invested in some duplex or something.
Or a 50-inch TV, that's what you could thief for. You could borrow somebody 50-inch TV, man, come on.
Buy some movable property.
Okay, but let me tell you what happened. They let him out on bail because he got, I guess the pandemic had started, and, you know, they didn't want to put more people in the prison.
Yeah.
And so all the ATMs, they changed the passwords and everything except the one in Breezes. And of course, you know, the hotels was closed down, and then he went and robbed that one too. Yes, yes, yes. So a second time, yes. So he got arrested the second time. Thieving is a disease. When you see somebody who is steal, stay away from them. Okay. Our good pastor who worked at the Ministry of Finance got fired from 2 jobs for stealing. Now he's a youth pastor, and he just got fired for stealing $400,000 from the Ministry of Finance. So I had to say, who hired him? Who hired him? People with no record. No, they do it. They do it. But think about it. If I know you're a thief, and you have a degree, and I can need a second signature. So that's because it was beyond me, and every class I went to, I said, class, please tell me how this man get a job, because honest, you know, law-abiding people can't get jobs. How does man get a top position for the money in the Ministry of Finance? They say, Miss Bullet, we gotta do criminal minds now. If I's a thief, I need a second signature. So whoever in HR is a thief too. That's all I gotta say. So ain't nobody hiring you without background check. But they get the background check and amend it or throw it in the garbage because they don't know when they roll up on that pastor. He was to say, I said, listen, pastor, sign this $1 million check. I given you half. Don't ask no question. Right away. Right away. Right? So that's how he got hired. But anyway, this thing come with sense. Okay. Unexplained wealth. Go ahead, Hepburn.
Okay. This applies to inter alia, the following: a politically exposed person, a public office holder, a person convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment, a person who receives property or gifts from criminal activities, persons who have been charged with crimes such as bribery, extortion, or misconduct in public office, falsification of accounts, stealing by reason of service or employment, money laundering, fraud, drug, human, or firearms trafficking. Enforcement authority may apply to the court requiring the person to file a declaration of their assets. The enforcement authority's application must have an affidavit which identifies the person, states a suspicion that the person's total wealth exceeds the value of their legitimately obtained wealth, and identifies the property that is believed to be illegally obtained. The court may take a preliminary unexplained wealth order and require the affected person to appear and explain why. The court should not make the order absolute.
Okay, so tell Elma if she cannot produce how she paid for that BMW in cash and have all that money in cash, then no. And I've spoken to somebody else who said, you know, she is a lawyer for other cases like this with the unexplained wealth. And because the judiciary system is still backed up, they have the money frozen. However, the person is saying, but I can't live and y'all can't bring me before the court. I need something off it. And so the court has been allowing them to withdraw 10,000 here and 10,000 there. I said, but we know our judiciary system. By the time it's the court case come up, ain't gonna be no money left. You know, so there's still loopholes and flaws in the system. But this is just to show you how bold these persons are. And they know the law. And that's why they say the lawmakers should be behind bars. Because they know that case could take 20 years to come up. And even if they get a little bit of time, she don't spend all the money. And she is bold enough to say, hey, I need to live. That's my hard-earned money. Y'all can't prove I steal that. Even though money missing from tourism, I need to live. Yeah, so that's how it works. Okay, y'all stay on the right-hand side of the law, please. I tell y'all about the new cell right on top of the grave, on top of Bethel, say. Well, of course, when politicians started going to jail, they couldn't throw us in Central. So they created a nice little white collar police cell right on top of Bethel's funeral home, right? Wow. One little building right there. So that's where if you do this white collar crime, you won't go into CID and you won't go into Central. On Nassau Street. Right there. Yeah, I think it's that tan building. Yellow building right there. They make one jail right there for us. Serious? Yes. You won't go to Central?
Nobody won't go there.
You'll get lost in Central. The FIU. Yes. Yeah, so the FIU is in Norfolk House, the green building on Frederick Street. Okay. Across from Fidelity on Frederick Street. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So they there. So their little jail right up there. White collar jail. White collar crime. Yeah. Because the murderers is being Central and the armed robbers, you won't get locked up with them. You get lost in there. Okay? Okay, good. Burroughs, do you want to do investigative orders? Is Burroughs there?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute it. Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Investigative orders, not retroactive. Court can order financial institution to disclose customer information, including that of a company, to an authorized person. Customer information is related to whether a person has a bank account, the identifying information of the person, and any joint account holder, account numbers. Financial institutions include banks, insurance companies, investment firms, check cashing or Western Union type businesses. The financial institution commits an offense if it fails to comply with the order, provides false information, or tells unauthorized persons about its existence.
Yeah, and we have had people just put entire files through the shredder when they know that the FIU come in, or, and just say, well, we don't have this information, and we'll take the fine for not keeping the records for 5 years. That's what the cruise ships doing. The cruise ships dumping all their waste in our waters. The fine is only $1 million. For them to pay somebody to collect their waste, let's say it's $5 million. And so therefore they perform. Yeah. So we have audited an institution who, when they got an investigative order and we came in to say, well, you all had production orders and investigative orders. Can we see them? They said, where are the files? Oh, they are missing. What about retaining the files for 5 years after they close? Oh, they just go pay the fine, which is what, $20,000 versus going to jail along with the customer, right? Because they didn't do what they're supposed to do. And so that, a lot of that is happening as well. It's cheaper to pay the fine. Yeah. And central bank, I worked with an institution where I was auditing them, and the finance department used to laugh because the finance department has monthly reporting. And if you don't report, you get charged $250 a day. But the lowest level in that finance department, their limit was $5,000. And so after they pay $1,000 or $2,000, nobody would even know if they paid $1,000 or $2,000 because they was late with filing. So we had to raise the, at least we took away all of their signing capabilities. And we said for anything that has to be paid, has to come to audit to sign off if it's a fine against the bank. And so that's how we know they late filing. So you think they late file anymore? No. They was laughing at the fine. Oh, 200, we could pay 5 days at 200. This a Scotia, this a Royal, this a CIBC. That was a joke to them. They never met the deadline. Wow. They paid thousands of dollars in fines below their threshold. Yeah. Yeah, so it's all sorts of things. And this is why I say, watch these different things for awareness. You see how Volkswagen defrauded, you say you watch a few of them, you watch the Volkswagen one on Dirty Money? Okay. I watch Dirty Money. You watch it? You see awareness. Okay, you have to go in this knowing what you're dealing with. Yeah. Or you will be stuck to what the book says and not know how it really works in the real world. Yeah, awareness. Okay, so very good. Jamal, you want to do disclosure order for us?
Okay. Disclosure order. This is an order that allows authorized person to give notice to anyone to answer questions, provide information, or produce documents at a specific time and place. A disclosure order cannot compel a person to disclose something subject to legal privilege. A person commits an offense if he fails to comply with the order, provides false information, or tells unauthorized persons about this existence.
Okay. So again, we were being sued by the French government. I used to be at Royal Bank Wealth Management, and we were being sued by the French government for some artwork and some stolen artwork that was in our possession. I told you all that story, yeah. So the relationship manager had to fly to Paris to give testimony. Now, everybody used to be happy, oh, I go to Paris, blah, 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 even though we were shutting down. But 2 days after they testified, they was having coffee, and then they went to the airport. And that same night, they had the Paris bombings. They never wanted to go back to Paris again. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, so, but they required us to be there in person to give testimony. Yeah. So how many you guys had to go? 35. You mean home or? I mean, or two. So after that, the lady said that was above her pay grade, and the CEO went. Yeah. She wasn't going back no more. And she didn't even find it exciting or anything. Okay, Karen, you want to do production order for us?
I think the lunchtime is right.
Okay. So then.
Production order. Application supported by affidavit ex parte before a magistrate's court. Court orders a person who has a possession or control of a document showing location of relevant property to disclose it. If a document is on computer, it must be converted to print form. The authorized person can copy, inspect, or retain documents for a reasonable period. Restrictions: no right of entry to premises and not required to produce legally privileged items. For production of information restricted by the Banks and Trust Companies Regulation Act and Central Bank Act, an application must be made to the Supreme Court judge.
Okay, and so the director, the FA, is it the FIU or the FTRA, one of those laws within the framework, gives the director some privileges in order to sign that production order. So I don't think they physically go to the Supreme Court and put in application, because you know that takes days. But once the director, he has that right, or they do some exchange where, and they send that, because like I, over my course of my 16 years to Royal, that's the only order I ever saw come in, the investigative one, the disclosure and the production is the most popular. So when you get that from the FIU, that's what you can expect, this production order, and they want you to produce. So there was a wire. I had to go to the entire account and look for that particular wire and send them the wire transaction. How did we accept it? Was it within their profile? What source document did they supply for us to go and pay this wire? And I had to send all that documentation. And then they came back and they said, okay, we want the entire printout history, transactional history for 5 years. So then I had to send that. Then they came back and they said, well, we want all IDs, and like 6 persons was on, all the IDs, proof of address and what have you. But at the end of that, they came back and said they are no longer investigating those people. Some other people, they came back and they said, freeze these assets. Yeah. So it just depends. And then I was in a situation where a bank was closing down and we had 4 STRs out. And so I had to constantly write them and say, listen, the bank is going to close. If these people send in a closing instruction, which we are running behind them for, what do we do? And they said, once they send in that closing instruction, send it to us. We will respond within 24 hours. So I received it. I sent it to them. And they contacted that bank and said, y'all are to expect these funds and freeze it. And so clear instructions came to the 2 banks. So, then they put the little warning to the bottom. Subject to no non-freezing or non-delivery, you will be fined $200,000. You will be liable in this and whatever. If the person should find out about this, the institution will be charged with tipping off and what have you.
If you guys are closing someone's account and the person who it belongs to finds out that you guys getting ready to close their account or freeze their account. So you guys will be in problems, so I guess that means somebody had to call them and tip them off.
Right, but see, this bank was closing down.
The whole bank?
The whole bank. So we were expecting a closing instruction, but they just told us when we received the closing instruction, send it to them so they could call the new bank where the money was going and advise them that they had to accept this money, but freeze it. Not allow any transactions because it was in a court matter. Yeah. And we had another account that was frozen for 10 years. That's a country's account though. A country that had gone into default. Just like how they talking about this Canoe, where Canoe collecting this money for the travel visa on behalf of the government. You remember a couple of years ago, Dallas Ritchie from the PLB was collecting the tax, the patcha tax every time somebody came in. It was $15 every visitor. And he ran off with it. So this was a country, the same way, had a third party collecting the money on their behalf, and they ran off with it and put it in the bank where I was working. And so for 10 years, they've been trying to prosecute those people, but for 10 years, that money been on hold.
Does it go interest?
Of course, that goes to the bank, not to them, because they said freeze it. But of course, you know that in the bank's P&L. So the bank's making a killer off that. They're sitting there.
So the bank don't care.
No, take 20 more years. Take 20 more years. But that was a country that had defaulted. Yeah. It was so bad that you could only get $60 a day from the ATM, and you still had to pay mortgage. You still had to buy grocery. You still had to put gas in your car. And there was like a 2-hour line at the ATMs to get money. Read the news, you all know which country I'm talking about. Okay, so that's an overview of the orders. Okay, and so some cases, like I say, in your homework, in your final exam, you would have prepared, and I know I'm going to answer the question on court orders. Please have your cases and to prove that you understand, and not just I remember some stuff in the book, I putting it on this paper. Okay, Any questions? No, clear as mud. Clear as mud, okay. Okay, our final chapter. We celebrating, okay? So chapter 8 is similar to the statutory requirement where they talk about training. The board must do this, the role of the compliance department, the role of the AML compliance team, and who is responsible for what. Very popular question that everybody is get wrong. Who ultimately has responsibility for the AML framework in a company? Who is ultimately responsible? So of course, you know, we put the AML team or the compliance team, the board, or somebody else. Who is ultimately responsible? Remember now, board comes in. Yes, correct. The board delegates its authority to senior management. You can delegate your responsibility. You can tell Ms. Bullock, type this letter up for you, but who can sign it? You, right? So you are ultimately responsible, even if you delegate your authority to somebody else. Okay, so the primary responsibility for delivering compliance rests with the board and senior management. Although this can be delegated to unit department heads on a day-to-day basis, these responsibilities should be addressed in job descriptions of senior management. And so you can delegate your responsibility. You cannot delegate who is accountable. You are always accountable if it's your position, okay? And the board is senior. The board should be provided with management information about AML compliance risks. The board is responsible for deciding whether the AML framework is adequate and that it provides the level of comfort required. And so what normally happens is the board meets 4 times a year, and each time you'd hear the head of compliance saying, oh, I have to do my board report. The head of finance, I have to do my board report. The head of HR. And so what they do is essentially in the meeting is they stand up and they give an account of what has happened in the quarter. And so if there are any issues, the board is to interject and say, hey, we need to fix this, or this is how we're going to fix it, or this is what the plan. But normally the compliance person or the CEO would have already come up with the plan, and they just normally say yay or nay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Prior to 2018, the board wasn't being trained on AML, just the staff. But now it's a requirement that the board is trained as well, because we need, like I talked about, the person who has come to pray, you need to know you on a financial services board. Even though you might be the good pastor who come to keep the peace, you still need to know what your responsibilities are, okay? And so you have to ensure that you understand your role, that you understand that this is delegated, but you are ultimately accountable for what happens in that institution. Okay.
So when things go wrong, they have a kind of, you know.
There you go. There you go. And so a lot of times when things happen, they normally senior management is removed.
But how come people just want to be on these boards and stuff like that?
For the money and the food.
And don't know what they're doing.
For the money and the food, what you talking about? You, that's a side hustle. You make $2,000 to $3,000 a board meeting where you could just sit there and say yay or nay. That's all they used to do before. They never used to be involved. And then at Royal Bank, we used to go take them to Cafe Matisse, or we used to order, okay, big time lunch. Come way downtown from like 3 hours lunch, 1 hour meeting. Okay, or we used to order from the Life for Keep Club. Have a big spread for breakfast, big spread for lunch, have a party once a year. Pay $3,000 to $4,000 a meeting.
And they come to meeting and
you know a thing. You know a thing. On their way out, that's what they used to do, a whole pretty book, do everything. On their way out, in the garbage. I mean, they don't even take the report with them. So next time they could come and say, well, Ms. Bullitt, follow up on this, that, all the stuff that we minuted and was supposed to happen.
Who selects the board?
Friends, family, and lovers. It just depends. Yeah. Yeah. So network. Because right now, y'all ain't in no network. You nobody know y'all. Y'all ain't getting on no board. Y'all ain't making that extra money. Okay.
Some boss making over 100K a year.
There you go. And they on 3 or 4 boards. You listen to the news. You see
no degree, no qualification.
The chairman of this. But let me tell you this. Somebody was in my class 2 semesters ago. And he telling me, but he is the head of the finance committee.
And he just in that
I say, you in intro? You in intro?
How you say it?
He was in intro. And
Oh,
he was head of the finance committee. I say to what?
Finance committee.
Okay.
I don't think they find out what
A preschooler.
If I tell you all will fall on the floor. Friends, lovers, and family. And if you all don't have the right friends, the right lover, or the right family,
I blame him. I would never say that.
Get in this network.
But as well, we know nepotism is strong in the Bahamas.
Okay, thank you.
That ain't no secret.
But not only in the Bahamas, in Canada too, because they had to do like a speed dating thing when I was at Royal Bank in Canada, because the entry level people say they was in the entry level for 5 years and they can't move up. And every time the position come, the same people going up and up and up and up. Mm-hmm. And so for them to say it was in favoritism or whatever, each executive had to take a mentee on who was entry level. And it was so many entry level people, they reached out to all the locations. And so I was mentoring somebody in Canada to get to the next level. That's how bad it is. If you weren't in a clique, you don't get that. You have to be a part of the clique. But just make sure you establish the right clique.
Yeah.
Okay? The right clique. Yeah.
Not a clique will take you to jail.
Okay, yeah. And that little cell, but they may get to yours. Okay? Until then it going on to talk about the role of compliance, the role of the AML compliance team. Now, people may say AML compliance team. What is happening now in compliance is so bad that the Security Commission had to put in one of their guidelines. Compliance can only wear one hat. This is the only duty. You cannot be the compliance officer and the HR and risk and all these different things, because of course, compliance makes no money for the business. And you know, they want to invest all the money where the money making, which is in sales. And compliance is a very expensive department. And so they try to make you the lawyer, the corporate governance, risk, compliance, whatever.
But for one salary.
One salary, of course. So what happens in the department, you have people being overwhelmed and overworked. And so you have to know exactly how many clients you have. You have to make sure proper metrics are in place. And you cannot do AML and compliance. AML is account opening, checking all the alerts, all the hits, every, you know, on the names, doing investigations, doing SDRs, training. Compliance is dealing with the regulators, writing policy and procedures, answering all these survey questions, dealing with staff. So you have the split between AML and compliance, and most people don't even do that split. Now there's risk. You definitely can take on risk, AML and compliance. And then there's governance. And so the program, the ICA program, has been expanded to include, it's no longer just AML and compliance, but it's AML, compliance, risk, and governance. All are different hats that you wear. Institution will make you be all, okay? But you have to fight it.
You have to let them know that, hey, I'm not there, so I can't do this and do that. If I have to be good at
you just say clearly define my role.
Yeah.
Can I see the job description? Do you have a risk officer? You know, they say, do you have any questions for us? Do you have a risk officer? Do you have a governance officer? Is AML and compliance split? These are the questions that you need to ask in your interview. Okay, no? How many customers do you have? If you have more than 100, then I can't do it.
That makes sense. When you have all those under your belt, that makes your job harder.
Yeah,
in terms of finding situations a problem or catching something before it really develops.
Right, because you're so overwhelmed. So we went to audit a Fortune 500 company, one of the Canadian banks that we consider very conservative, you know, who follow the rules and stay under the thresholds. When we got there, we asked for some deliverables. They kept sending us to the same person. We said, is this a coordinator for this audit? They said, no, she does that, she does that. And so we said, no. Before we start this audit, we need you to separate her. Her desk is overwhelmed. There's no way she could get anything done and cover for this big company that have 15,000 clients. We said, they had to hire 4 people. And she was doing that for 5 years, that one job with all those different hats for 5 years. And because she was a lawyer, but they had a whole legal department. Okay. So it's so bad that if you go into it blindly, you will end up being 10 different functions. Okay, even the operational ones, and compliance is supposed to be independent of the business. Okay, so ensure that you understand the role of compliance, what falls under that. What is the role of the AML team? What falls under that? Then there's legal, then there's risk, then there's governance.
But man, what has happened from what I understand, if you're working for the company and they send you to school to get the certification, when you pass, they throw all these hats at you.
Yeah. But
whereas if you come in brand new with the company, you could say, okay, I could take this position, but I don't want to do X, Y, Z. You see what I mean? That's what I heard from other people.
Right. But then you throw those hats right back.
Yeah.
And if they don't take them back, then you call audit. And trust me, that's exactly what we did. We stepped in there to hire 4 people for a position that this lady did for 5 years alone.
Is that regular?
That's regular.
Like you have to always make them hire more people?
So listen, FACA and CRS just came out. I'm the compliance officer. 2 separate positions I've been in. I had to do FACA and CRS, which is operational. Because we had never done taxes before and nobody knows. So Ms. Bullard, you have to go there and learn it and come back and train the staff. And so I took it on the premise of, okay, fine. This bank didn't have a lot of educated people. Let me go there and learn this international taxes. Went out there, learned it. Nobody would take it over. Other banks have since established departments. What's up with it? There's nobody. At the educational level who can handle it. So other banks have hired and now established CRS and FACA tax departments, but they don't want to do it here. So what could you do? And other jobs that I've applied for, CRS and FACA right there. But that makes you operational. So essentially, I am the checker checking the checker. That's what happens. And that's very risky because I make mistakes. I'm a human being. You know what I mean? And I don't have nobody in the institution to come by behind me and say, oh, you miss a 0. There's supposed to be a 1 and not a 7.
You would need that, knowing that
I am the checker.
You only have
I am the checker, right?
And then
there you go.
You're not gonna catch every little loop.
Yep. So every July, I have to stop my entire desk just to focus on CRS and FACA. You can't do nothing else because you're dealing with taxes. And yearly, every July. And it's a lot of work. It's like a whole project because a lot of people lie about their jurisdictions because of course everybody wants to be in the lower tax jurisdiction. So you have to verify it. Yep. And they don't have a system yet. You know, they bought a system, but the system was so technical, nobody could use it. I say, oh, I could do it manually. I can do it manually. I can't, the time I take, the system is supposed to spit out a report. It don't work. A glitch here, this happened, that. I say, no, I can do it manually or I'll miss the deadlines. Because the window to post is only open for us. The window closed. If you miss that date, you get a fine. So yeah, but that's another story. But so just make sure that it doesn't happen to you. Understand your role, look at your job description, and know that if you have less than 100, this is a very small bank, then you could wear 2 or 3 hats. But remember, you are the checker. So somebody has to check you, or you have to stay the checker. And if you are the checker, you can't be the preparer. There's supposed to be a preparer, a verifier, and then a checker. Yeah. There's 3 segregation of duties, and that's supposed to be 3 different people, or you will make mistakes. Okay, the other day we had a overdraft on an account. It was supposed to be 100,000. Somebody missing put 2 more zeros. It was $1 million. People was writing checks. I talk about, and they know their overdraft is $100,000, but when they go online and see that they have $1 million available, they write the checks up. The person who checking to make sure money available, putting them checks through. But if the same person who put the overdraft on the system is the same person who's verified it, you think they see them 2 zeros? Or that say 100? Oh yeah. You see the other zeros to the back of it. It's very easy to make mistakes. Okay, so find out what the controls are, ensure that duties are properly segregated, ensure that there's a preparer, a verifier. That's why they ask for 2 signatures. the person accepting the transaction should be the preparer. The person who signed in second should be the verifier. And then at the end of the month or whenever audit or whoever, compliance comes behind and does the check. But nobody knew Parker and CRS 3 years ago. So I had to be the preparer, the verifier, and the checker. And I used to just tell my secretary, I said, please look at this, please. I say, and just see if I post in, I don't want to send $1 million and it's supposed to be 100,000. Please, just please. I used to be begging her. And she say, Ms. Fuller, you already have to hire somebody. I said, I agree, but please don't let me, you know, help me. Just look over it. See if I spell the people's name, I put their tax number in right and the amounts right, at least. Because the ramifications are great. You're dealing with Europe, you're dealing with the US. You put in the wrong numbers, they accept that you make a mistake, you know? So make sure the proper controls are in place, okay? And then it talks about the money laundering reporting officer. We all know, again, regulated function has to be approved by the regulator. Who's the regulator? The central bank, the Securities Commission, the Insurance Commission, the Compliance Commission, okay? And who do they regulate? Popular question. Accountants are regulated by who? Designated non-financial institution, accountants, lawyers, and real estates that have a corporate service provider arm or a financial service arm, the Compliance Commission, the newest regulator on the blocks.
Compliance Commission is the newest.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the multiple choice questions. Okay, the gaming board, Island Luck is regulated by who?
Security.
No.
No.
Island Luck is
Gaming board.
there you go. Gaming. Come on. When you go to buy your number, who is the regulator? You better know. Okay. Okay, and so apart from the responsibility is receive internal STRs, evaluate STRs, determine if there's sufficient evidence to make a report, make the report if you have to, act as the main point of contact, act without influence from management, independent of the business. You should not, even though you are victimized and intimidated, you should not be. Okay?
Yeah, you can't show yourself being intimidated at that point.
Right. Okay, and then there's internal audit to prevent, detect, and investigate money laundering and financial crime. It is an independent function and helps an organization by bringing a systematic approach to evaluate and improve the effectiveness of risk management, control, and governance. And now under risk, each institution have established 3 lines of control. So the first line of defense or line of control is the front line and management. The second line of defense is compliance. The third line of defense is audit. Okay, so they put in to maintain, to manage risk management, 3 lines of defense or 3 lines of control.
What are the 3 are?
Front line and management is the first line of defense. Second line of defense is compliance. And third line is audit. So if you have a multiple choice question that asks you, what are the line of defense? You should know it. Okay, so that's the end. At the back of the book, there's some appendices, there's some cases, there's some indicators. Like, take some time and go through them. There are some practice questions. You know, all of this is just to help you. Okay, and so for next week, each of us have what we need to do in our review class. Come with 10 meaty points that will give you, points in your exam. Should you answer the question on risk, on the FATF, or whatever you choose, terrorism. And you should come prepared knowing these are the 7 questions that I am going to answer. So bring your review sheet. And as Karen speaks, you write down the 10 points. As Jamal speaks, you write down the 10 points. A lot of people just remember what they write for homework and they paste it back on there because we have awesome memories. Mm-hmm. They paste it right back on the exam and they get no points. You have to read the question. Each question probably has 3 parts. Please ensure that you answer all parts of the question. And you cannot just copy and paste your homework. Your homework is a good guide if you talk about terrorism, because some of the things that you would have put in, legitimate and illegitimate sources, objectives, recruitment, travel, safe haven. My example was charities. Yeah, you can reuse all of that, but make sure you answer the specifics of the question on the exam. Okay? Mm-hmm. And every time you read, get away, I don't see 1 million essays, readings. I have to read the newspaper every day. I have to follow the FATF and all these places. Stop going to these bodies of writing and copying out the middle and pasting it. I said before. I know if Karen write instrumentality is, Karen even know what instrumentality is mean. That ain't a word. I know that. Right? I see some of y'all have R2, the R6, and all this US law. Y'all don't know no US law. Don't put that on y'all, but y'all don't know that. Then copy and paste a large body, a recommendation one. I know it, no points. Okay? So if you truly want to be successful, you have to read the essay, close the book, and then write what it say. And then look back for some points, and then write what it say. Stop all this copy and paste to make up your words. Okay, because definitely, like I say, when you go to ICA, there's a system that you upload your paper into, and it tells you 10% of your essay came from here, 7% came from another person's paper, 8% comes from there. And when you get to like 30, 40%, you fail. So you just write a 3,500 word essay and you get no points. Yeah. So this 1,200 is a joke. Okay, but I just want you to get into the practice as you get to the next level, what is required. Okay. Yeah, so practice now, whilst you get feedback. Yeah. Yeah. Good feedback. When you get the ICA, after you write the essay, then they say, nope, this is what was wrong, this is what was wrong. And $1,500 to redo your essay there. Yeah.
That 3,500 word essay. That's the next class. I mean, no,
the next level is still the same thing, intermediate. Okay. Yeah, where you'll do the 1,000, the 12. Yeah, it's the ICA, right? Okay. So all of this is just practice to get you there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I have something to show you. Okay. So any other questions or concerns? Come on, speak now, forever hold your peace. Next week, we're just doing review. I came off this paper 30 and yeah. Okay. Y'all still there or y'all asleep?
No, yeah.
Well.
No, we're here.
Let some feedback. Sheena's here. She bring me this newspaper, look older than me. Let me see. Oh, Jesus is older than me. 1971. Thursday, July 22nd. Wow.
You're young, Mama Spoiler.
Yep. I young.
When I found that, I said, oh my God.
Sheena, where you had this? Y'all can see? Look at it. Y'all can see it?
I see under the bed or a chimney. It's yellow.
Yeah.
They use that one paper for the finance, the finance part of the paper. Like they jam everything on one piece.
Boy, this is not, you might get money for this, Sheena. This is very good. Where you keep this?
Let me tell you what happened. My mommy boss, they moved to Canada 2 years ago. Apparently they was having a bad this year. So they sold the house.
Okay.
So then we had to go and help her clean out pack paper and stuff like that. And I told them I would burn the stuff. So I am going through all the financial stuff. You know, you gotta burn them. Right. And when I pick up that paper, I say, oh my God.
You better keep this way.
I got the phone.
Yes. And look at the price of it, 50 cents. How much paper costs now? $1.25? Or just $1?
Oh, just $1.
Just $1. Okay, but this
$1.25 a paper.
They say 50 cents.
Where could I carry that?
You didn't take it to, they say the Tribune? Yeah, take it to Miss Karen. Miss Karen, she normally is there. Her son, the Karens, that's who own the Tribune. They would be impressed. I don't know if they give you money, but you know, you never know. Yeah, so very good.
Yeah, it comes with the things.
Wow. I did this a little piece of jam.
Take it to them. See what they say. Yep. Okay, so any questions or concerns? Wait, before, let me see anyone else sending their number so we can, okay. So Jamal is asking if anybody else to create the group, and Genovia sent. Okay, so let me give you, what is your number? 807 3890. And that's Sheena. Yeah, definitely. If you're going on, 451 Karen. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, get networking and help each other come together with a study group and support each other all the way through. Because definitely, when you get to ICA, you're gonna need some help.
Okay. I know I need help.
Okay.
I you know the world of the
business
way for a while.
Okay, so Karen, let me give you Genovia and Antonia and Jamal. They all put their numbers for to attend either Rotary or the civic organization, and they don't want to go alone either. So call them. Yeah, so y'all could go together. And in fact, well, I had a class of 25. And 10 of them got together, and they even sent me a picture. It's like, Miss Bullet, we introduce and we take over the people meeting, and the people, some of them joined. They were very happy. So Headburn is 809-5093. 5093. Genovia Headburn. Nantonia is 463-6684.
463?
6684. Nantonia Naren. And then Jamal Cash is 817-4433. Yeah, so y'all help each other. So any comments or concerns? Any feedback? Are we excited that we are there? That we made it through?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it went really quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I told you it's short and sweet. It's 4 quick weeks, and by now you should have made the decision. Is Miss Bullet crazy with all this information? Am I intrigued? Do I want to go to the next level? And like I said, the class is a big class, so please see Miss Dean by this week or next week to sign up, because it starts on July 31st.
Okay.
And even if compliance is not for you, then please see Miss Dean for your next step, whether it be. I think it's gonna be either Saturday mornings or Thursday nights. I'm not.
Right? Should we sign up before we know our actual results?
Well, then if you do bad, if at first you don't succeed, you try again, and so then you. No, you don't already be an intermediate, because your grade is 2 weeks after you taking it on the 15, and 2 weeks will take you like to the start of it. But because Miss Dean is gonna know, she's gonna sit on me on the 16, and she'll be saying, where the people grades and have to get cross marks. So you'll have your grade well in advance. But like I said, still, if you know this is for you, you are not going to give up. And so therefore sign up and then pay $150 when you have it. If you study, organize yourself, get your days off, and not come up overwhelmed, this is very achievable. Very achievable. No surprises. Okay, if you apply yourself, and you, like I said, you would have to apply yourself to any course that you take on.
Yeah.
So write your career development plan and your educational development plan, and the Bible says there's no vision, the people perish. Okay, and I used to always have my vision in my head, and the year I wrote it down, I accomplished 90% of the things. And what I didn't accomplish, I put it on my vision for the next year. And then I accomplished 100% of the things.
Wow.
And every year since, I say a lot of things. My head is keep saying things that I don't never do. I procrastinate to the fullest, but everything that I write down on my phone is scheduled for the 6th every month. It is pop up and I say, oh my God, I was supposed to do this. Oh, and I beat myself up. When November come, I be a crazy person trying to paint the house, trying to do this. It just push you. And when you get, when like you get a lump sum of money or a payday, it prepares you. So I know immediately, like I needed a washer and dryer. It was the pandemic. I said, Lord, it's the pandemic, but I really can't go back to super wash because you don't know what happening in the washers and super wash. And so I said, I have to really tie myself down. I have to take a sandwich for lunch, and because I don't want to borrow any money, but I really need a washer and a dryer because my wash and dryer gone kaput. I had one for 15 years. It was the best. And then I say, okay, it's time for a new one. I don't know why I do that. The new one lasted 2 years. Kaput.
As BPL doing.
Wow.
Yes. Gone out, got one show off, one something new. Yeah. So now I went back to old fashioned one, but when my salary came in June, I knew to take out a certain amount. When it came in July, and that's the goal I had from January 1st. That's how long it took me to tie myself down to eat a sandwich instead of buying $10 lunch, to live on 20% and save 80% to get my washer and dryer so I would know nobody. And so last year, August, I got it, and it's fine. But that's what you have to do. Where there's no vision, people perish. And you write it down. I mean, a wash and dryer might mean nothing to you all, but I have to wash for 7 people. So I was spending like $100, especially when school open, uniforms had to wash every week. I have like 10 loads of clothes.
Guys wash me, my mommy, my daddy.
Okay.
My 2 sons' clothes. I'm a fine clothes, so.
Yeah. So if it's school, if it's, and even if you say, I have a 5-year plan, write it down. And these smartphones just tell you everything. Put a little reminder every month, because you just get caught up in life. Every month, then has to be like, oh, you procrastinate too much. You're supposed to finish this book. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that.
Go to university I planned that from 2017. And then I planned to go to Canada. I just keep working at it, little piece. I mean, if I want to, I could take off and go.
Okay, December. But you're here now, so you done start. Yeah.
My class starting in October.
Okay.
I'm doing business administration.
Okay, excellent. And you could do that online. You don't physically have to be in Canada now, right?
Exactly.
Right. So so write it down so we don't perish, and you will see that it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens if you remain committed to it. Yeah, so whatever you want, you have not because you ask not.
That's true.
That's what the Bible says.
I got some other good news Tuesday, but I can't say it yet.
Yeah, okay. Keep it. Don't talk everything. Don't talk everything.
No, you can't talk everything.
Okay, good.
Talk everything.
Good. So any other feedback or questions or concerns? We ready for review next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to get ready. Well, I have to get ready.
Okay, so everybody put a reminder in their phones. July 15th is this exam. Study the first 2 chapters. Is only so you need eight pop-ups, but we are now in the 15th. Going away from independence. No going away. You go away for August Monday. That's when you go.
No, but then you party going to the
No, you party after, and you could even plan your celebration. But if you document it, if you write it down, I must pass this exam. Put some reminders, and I need to do an hour because the day is just past you, and you'd be like, I didn't even open the book. right? And that's what has happened. Yeah, so document your plan and document your achievement. I even say, thank you, Lord, when I pass this exam. Amen. And go. And sometimes I don't pass the first time. I try again.
Yeah, you can't stop.
You can't give up. You can't give up.
Anyway.
Okay, but it's very achievable. So don't be overwhelmed and over, you know, plan it out. So 1 week, and you say on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, and in between there, this time already allotted out. So next week, Thursday, is what date? You all look at the calendars. The 8th day. Okay, that's review. And then you have a week or no? You have any days between the 8th and the 15th?
So, not much.
Yeah, so.
No, we will have another meet after that. After the 8th.
Okay, yeah, so that's the week after. Yeah, but so within that week, you have to schedule your time and ask for your days off. Or sometimes if you really feeling overwhelmed, use your holiday, go out for half a day. Either decide that I can study, I can stay home and unwind and study till 12, or I will go out. Oh no, you might get drunk. Don't go out first. Yeah, so no plans for the morning.
No.
Y'all, it's a curfew till 11. Y'all go make plans after 12 and take that morning, sleep in, have a nice breakfast, and then pick up your book.
I die in the process, so I can sacrifice all my time.
Yeah.
And it's my children, but not my children.
Yeah, so.
113-year-old, he doesn't know to leave me alone.
Yeah, but you gotta block him out this week, and with school closed, so you know, picking up the children, right? No. And no cooking and you know all them different things. No, for real, order out. If cooking is overwhelm you, it's take me like 4 hours to cook. I'd be like, try the nice pizza night.
My friend called me Saturday. What you doing? Nobody.
No, but I mean, still feel good. No, still feel good and do stuff, but you have to schedule out your time. Okay.
Not right now.
Okay, well, put it off till after the 15th, then you're free.
That's fine. Do my homework too.
Yeah. Okay. So no other questions or concerns?
No.
Okay, so please, like I say, catch up on all the stuff that you have to catch up on, get all your points, and sit comfortably in the exam with 30 points, 30%. Please don't sit in the exam with 10%. And then you have to say, geez, I only have 10%. I got to get a high grade on this exam. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. So get all the points. You could go comfortably into the exam with 30 points. That means you only need 40 more points and you pass, which is a 70%, right? Okay. Okay, so if there are no more questions or concerns, then we'll end there until next week.
And the passing grade for the exam is 7?
No, so the overall class is 70. The exam is 70% of the grade. The homework is 20% of the grade. So you'll get the average of the 2 homeworks.
My homework?
Not if you have a grade already.
No, I don't have a grade on that.
Okay, so then.
I have a grade on the first one.
Okay, yeah. So if you have to do your redo, get your redos in quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
Before the review class. I'm marking no more redos after the review class. Because I know somebody promised me 11:59 last night, and I stay up till 12 o'clock and I get that. So.
Oh my goodness, that's petty.
No, I
know.
Petty is putting them on blast for real.
Well, Omega was supposed to make us feel better with her story, but she left, so I'm sorry. See, I don't like to start or end with doom and gloom. I like to start off good and you end good. You put the doom and gloom in the middle. Yeah.
I agree. It's balance.
Yeah.
Look at it like that.
Yeah. Something going wrong with Omega's system, and so she couldn't make us feel better. But we get back on track. We got back on track. Okay. So you all have a fabulous week. Organize yourself, get some rest, and feel good, and then come prepared for next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Okay, great. Y'all take care.
Okay, good night.
All right, good night, all.
Okay. All right. Genovia gone. Could you add Karen and oh, she did. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I just sent her the group link.
Yeah, and Sheena, please.
Yeah, I think I sent it. Yeah, I sent it to Sheena too.
807-3890, Sheena. 807-3890.
Yeah, Jamal sent me a number. Anybody else, y'all could just send the group link to so everybody could be included.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay, good night.